by the Ouafae Kafaf of the Fishery Ministry, Maroc.
So let's jump now to the southern part of the Mediterranean Sea. I am Ouafae Kafaf from Morocco. I am fisheries scientist specialized in sustainable fisheries management. So first of all, I profit the opportunity to thank the CIESM Director General and all the staff of all the effort made. A lot of efforts are made to make this event possible, this stimulating event, and make me a part of it. Thank you very much also for all the presence of the persons here. So during my presentation, I will share with you my own experience with Moroccan fishermen in the Mediterranean and in the Atlantic side of the Morocco, and we will see together some truly experiences in large fishing port and being on board fishing vessels and living with fishing in their fishing community. And we will see together how these three experiences that seems very simple were very useful and essential. In fact, my experience with Moroccan fishermen starts a long before. I lived in a fishing town, vocation city, where it is very frequent for us to see each evening the boats and the vessels leaving their fishing port every day and eat fish at daily basis. So for us, fishing it was very interesting. It interests me a lot, so I choose to study fisheries. I choose that is assumed even the bad reputation of Moroccan fishermen. In fact, in my city, fishermen have a very, very bad reputation. They are known as a stubborn persons, in some way difficult to approach, difficult to communicate with them, and also isn't conseilled to go at the fishing port alone, accompanied, especially for women there. As you can see here in these pictures, from fishing to selling products, even in town, are male-dominated environments. As said, Mr. Frédéric Briand in the first day in the inauguration, is an environment dominated by testosterone. For us in Morocco, it's very difficult to access this word. So during this experience, a lot of commentary was did, of a lot of priorities, ideas was in head, but I have the total conviction that if we want to learn a lot of fisheries and this word, we have to access. We have to make the first step to go to approach them, to study from them, to learn a lot about what they do in fishing. No one can ignore the situation of the worldwide fisheries. As the last evaluation of Mediterranean fisheries did in 2018, the state of Mediterranean is very terrible. 19% around of the evaluated assessed fisheries are overexploited. So we have to do this step, and we have to take the ideas of all stakeholders, namely fishermen. So my contact with them wasn't very, very easy in the beginning. You know, if you access to an environment very dominated by men, the access was difficult. All eyes will be on you. But the time from time, day from day, things will be normal, and they have the habitude to see me at daily basis in their world. So I was welcome. So you have to choose the best time to communicate with them. As a scientist, we think that it is easy to approach them, it is easy to communicate with them, but the fishermen have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of steps to follow the fish, the products, and fish didn't wait. As a fisherman said, if I spend a lot of time to speaking with you, my fish product didn't wait. I have to sell the product as soon as possible in the market. So many tries, many errors done give me the opportunity to know in which the exactly time is good to do that. So during this experience, many conversation with them allowed me to point out that fishermen have a bad idea about scientific work. They simply think that scientists haven't the experience, the field experience, that doesn't have the competence needed to do stock assessment, to know what's happened under the water as they do the fishermen. These fishermen go at sea each day. They know what's happened here. They know where, how, and when we must fish. And for them, scientists are in their desk and their office all days long. So for them, there are some misunderstanding, I catch it, during our conversation. But we, as scientists, we know exactly that scientists do a lot of efforts under the water. They go at sea to work, to study, to do fish. They fish as fishermen do. They study biology, recruitment zones, and all of that. But the problem, fishermen don't know that as Moroccan scientists, we have 2 boats, 2 vessels to did stock assessments at annual basis. Also, for strengthening our capacity for doing scientific research, we ask for international collaboration. We go at sea with the European boats, as this example of vessels of EU, and also in Russia. But the problem is we have to collaborate the fishermen. We have to communicate to them that we are doing that, to could make them accepting the results and the recommendation and make them legitimate. Let's jump now to being on board fishing vessels. As I am stressing in the first example, fishermen have a lot of misunderstanding. They have a lot of prejudices about scientists, and they simply think that we haven't the capacity needed to go at sea to do science. So if we want to really show them our ability to work with them, our good intention to learn from their knowledge and their experiences, we can't do that from our place comfortably in the fishing port. We have showed a good example and go with them at sea and live the same experience as they do. So for me, it was necessary to jump to another step, more serious, maybe more difficult, but I decided to do it. Going at sea with them isn't easy. Let's look at this picture. Fishermen spend a lot of time here in a very small places. They spend a lot of time here on board in this place than with their family, integrating society. So we can understand now that isn't easy for him to communicate with people, isn't easy for him to, as a fisherman, to integrate society. So we have to live in the same conditions as they do to could improve their condition in board, to could communicate easy with him. In fact, fishermen, because they spend a lot of time here on board than with their family, they share as kind of group identity. If you can't speak the same language as fishermen, if you can't simplify the scientific discourse, the scientific speech, is very difficult to could access to their knowledge, to could access to their skills and their experience and data we need. The conversation with fishermen here in onboard fishing vessels give me a lot of information about the information and the skills and the knowledge they have on all the food web. Really, I was surprised. I was surprised about the kind of information they know. They not only know how I can fish this species. I think the persons that worked a lot with fishermen can also remark that only the fisherman is the only person that he can see the evening, took a look on a sky, on the water, and can anticipate if tomorrow there will be a good day for fishing or not. In the water, the fisherman know exactly how he can find this species and how they cannot find this one. And also, I found it is important that fishermen catch the trend of stock status. They know this kind of species was in the past and now is disappeared. This kind of species was shrinking in size. This kind of species, if I want to fish it, I have to go to this depth of water or on this type of habitat and this type of substrate. Throughout this picture, I want only show you that this is very important to integrate information and knowledge of fishermen. Fishermen is a main stakeholders, and also when fishermen are in the system and their information are integrated in our studies and results, make them likely to accept the results and feel it legitimate and correct. During this experience on board fishing vessels, I realized that fishermen don't care about the presence of women on board. In the contrary, they was very satisfied. And also, when I was struggling with seasickness, struggling with the bad quality of living in board, this kind of vessels, that was in some way building the trust between us as a scientists and fishermen. It was very important because they see that is concrete what we are doing. The kind of information that we ask, they see that when we search for her skies, his experience and his information. That's very important. They feel that is heard, their knowledge is recognized, their competence is valuable by scientists, and they change a lot of things. So we realized that the doors is opening for women to be on board, to access this world that is very male-dominated, and also some Moroccan fisherwomen that I met them in the way of my life said that the presence of women on board and with fishermen world and environment in some way mitigates the conflict, mitigates a little bit the tension between stakeholders. That is very important, because if we have at some degree misunderstanding, fighting, problems, and we have another kind of tension, it's important to add some elements that mitigate this fight and this tension. Now, there is some women that's very interested to do fishing, to study fishing in schools, in international schools, in high schools, to access this world with the big doors. But the question now, the policy, do some effort to make them there, give them some percentage to be in fishing vessels. The owner, fisher owners, have this confidence in the competence of women. For example, this woman that want to be a skipper conducts a vessels a very big vessels that's very profitable economically. This is a kind of study we must to do it to follow the next step of women in the field. Also, I want to say that if you want to really understand what's happening there, more approach them, more build a kind of trust with this community. We have to live in their community, not only on board in fishing vessel, seeing them working, seeing them fishing, ask for data about landing or something like that. We have to see the daily work, the condition of life, the kind of problem they fight at a daily basis, what's happened there. So I choose to live in a fishing village with a fishing community. In this fishing village, I chose to live with a fisherman family in the same building as them, to could socialize with them, to could bring this distance between the community and between the scientists. Not only to work with them at sea, to go on fishing boats, but also to live their daily life, their daily events, and to know what's happened, what's their problem. In the end of my study, I prepared my project on exploitation of bluefin tuna and swordfish in the Mediterranean Sea. With my supervisor in Fisheries Ministry, we are selected based in the data we have about landing, about all the report they have managers. We are selected 4 main places where these bold fisheries are exploited. The Fisheries Ministry was very collaborative. They gave us all the information needed, the data, and all that, and allowed also the access to all fishing boats and all the dependent system. But what we think that was an advantage, in the contrary, was an inconvenience. When I was in the field to collect data, fishermen was so afraid. They don't share information. And they ask me, what is the problem? Why the fishermen don't want to give the information? In fact, they give information, but as superficial as possible. And then a lot of the kind of data that is very sensible, like socioeconomic data, like how much they gain, like regulation, a lot of sensible data about the fishery, they can't do it. So I changed my strategy. I realized that something was wrong. It was a bad beginning, and I have to do things in my manner. In this time, I understand that the problem was this printed document, the questionnaire, and the presence of the persons of administration. And also the time was sensible because the Moroccan Ministry adopted a ICAT resolution banning fishing with gin nets. And this time, they was very afraid to banning fishing with another gear. So I adopted another strategy based on all the previous remark did, error done, and the experiences. First, I detached me from administration. I started with association and cooperative. I'm sure that association fishermen give a lot of confidence, a lot of trust about association and cooperative where they are apart. So they are there. So they collaborate, they go to us to give this information. So for me, The first factor was to identify what is important in this study for these fishermen. And then communication. Communication is a fundamental factor. We could have a proactive discussion on the same objective we share together. So if we want to collect the data, the very good data, we need the fishermen in our science. Through this experience, through this study with fishermen, I want to inform you, I want to share you something is important. Now, the state of our fishes is very bad. So if we want to have a very good data, an accurate data, we need information of fishermen. We don't have another solution. We are in obligation. We need them never as before. Never as before. And another example here, I will go through this example so quickly. In Dakhla fisheries, in 2004, the fishery of octopus was collapsed, totally collapsed. So the socio-economic basis of the city was in crisis. So the fishermen asked for the first time to a sustainable fisheries management system. They go to the administration to ask to be a part of the system, to collaborate in the system. And with the information of fishermen, we are detected 6,015 another boats didn't in the system operating in the irregular manner. And they helped the fishermen, allowed the administration to finance the program. They give their money from their catch to could preserve their fishery. They see that they are in the problem. They want to save the situation of their fishery. And the half of these boats were removed, and the artisanal system was restructured, and also the boats was equipped with a very interesting thing. This is a magnetic card to could detect the boats kept in the fishery. And thank you so much, and I'm sorry to consume all the time.
Thank you, Ouafae. Sorry to press you.